What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Spanko, and today we have a spicy. Okay, just go. It's Mekk-Knight, but it's like a different version of Mekk-Knight.
Yeah.
Alright, before we get into it, I just want to say I'm gonna tell you guys right now. He's been playing this deck since it came out. No.
Yeah.
So
Since it was announced in the OCG, I've been testing with it.
So you've been playing this deck forever.
Yeah.
You've played this deck like 16 million ways. I've played against you, and every single time it's different. What do you think of it? How do you feel? Obviously, you love it.
Yeah.
Go.
So, when the cards first were announced, I thought, wow, because I was first really interested in the whole fact that they actually, Master Rule 4 with Link Summoning, they tried to make card placement matter, but that didn't sort of really take off, and it was just, oh, you just summon it to the arrow, who cares?
Yeah.
But with Mekk-Knights, it actually became something like, oh, I actually have to think about where I'm playing and how I'm going to play this game, and then I'm now going to force my opponent to start thinking about it as well. So for something like that, I thought it's like, wow, that's a different way to play this game.
Yeah.
It just seemed real interesting. And then I started playing around with them. Of course, like when they were first announced in the OCG, and I can play with it online in a mixed format. I got to play it with three grinder golem and security dragon.
That was
so fun.
That was
but
so
yeah.
Man, that was a memory I don't want to think of.
So obviously I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I've played with this deck. I played with this deck for almost over 2 years now, and I've tried it every which way. I know Mekk-Knights are popular as an engine nowadays with like Mekk-Knight Invoked or Mekk-Knight Trickstar or anything like that. I've tried them out. I've tried everything under the sun.
Even the Brilliant. Oh, you were so sad when Brilliant went.
Brilliant, yeah. Losing Brilliant really hurt because it was just so good.
He has it framed, he has a miniature gray framed somewhere in his house.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get right into it.
So yeah, I just want to preference this right now, is this deck is not using Mekk-Knights as an engine.
Okay.
This is pure Mekk-Knight as close as I can get to it.
Okay.
All right.
With a little bit of spice.
With spice.
With a little bit of spice. All right.
You need the spice. Yeah. So one thing I do need to preference is, when you play as an engine, the hierarchy of best Mekk-Knights go from best to worst, purple, blue, then indigo.
Okay.
That's not the case when you play pure. So when you play pure, going from best to worst Mekk-Knights, you go purple, you go indigo,
and then blue.
you go Avram, you go blue, you go red and yellow.
Okay, so best, worst.
Yeah.
All right.
So purple is self-explanatory, best card in the entire deck, just because it's 2,500 attack, it pluses you like no tomorrow. If you can resolve this thing on your first turn, and then on your second turn, this thing will plus you like 3 in the end.
Okay.
Indigo, because of the way that I'm playing this, I'm playing a going first build, so it's a bit more control variant. Indigo, with its ability to move, becomes so incredibly crucial. Avram is the next down the list, just because more often than not, he's your primary combo starter. Especially when Brilliant Fusion was a thing, this thing was even more important.
Yeah.
But it's gone now, but this thing, you still do need to play 3 of these at all times when you're playing pure. And then blue is blue. I only run 2 because 3 can get kind of bricky.
Yep.
Just because more often than not, you don't really want to open blue because you can't use blue on your first turn.
Yeah, especially because you were going to go first.
Yeah,
right?
So usually what you want to end up doing is you want to get your Nightfall out, and then your Nightfall can search you a blue later.
Yep.
And then your blue searches your next Nightfall, and then you go through that cycle. If you come to a point where you're missing a third blue, the game has gone on way too long.
Yeah.
And then red and yellow are just good for removal. And
extra names as well, I guess.
Extra names, and they're just okay removal.
Okay.
They're in-art type removal. And what's actually interesting is a lot of people don't realize this, but these are not once per turn.
Ooh.
So these things, you can use their effects for as many times as you have Mekk-Knights engraved to banish.
Okay.
They do only target things in your opponent's in the same column as them.
Yeah.
So for example, like you can stick Red Moon in the same column as a Thunder Dragon Colossus. If you've got like 4 Mekk-Knights in your graveyard,
you can keep popping.
You can force them to burn out all the Thunders in their graveyard.
Interesting.
And do that.
That's cool.
But the super spice is you can summon a red moon, pop a monster in the column, activate an indigo, move him to another column, then use his effect again and pop again.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So, yeah, so that's the main Mekk-Knight core lineup.
Oh, and your deck is 40 cards, right?
Yes, deck is 40 cards.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I often play like 45 or something.
Yeah.
But I'm playing 40 right now.
Okay.
So now the rest of the monsters, I'm not playing any hand trap monsters in the main deck right now. But the rest of the monsters are basically your play starters.
Okay.
Because if you're trying to go first with Mekk-Knights,
It's a little hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
You need to be able to put a monster in your extra monster zone and be able to set a card in the same column in order to summon any of these things minus the Avram.
Okay.
So in order for that, and this is the reason why Avram is super important.
Yep.
You play 3 Rescue Rabbit.
Okay. So I'm assuming this is your best normal summon.
Yes.
Okay.
So you would normal summon the rabbit, and then you send that off. You pull,
Avram.
you pull 2 Avram out, and then that just makes you your Link 2 Mekk-Knight, and then you go off from there.
Yep.
So best normal summon deck. And here's what I think is the spiciest tech in the deck at this point. This is something I've thought of new, just because I had to find a new starter after I lost Brilliant Fusion.
Okay.
So we're playing 3 Mythical Beast Master Cerebus and 2 Mythical Beast Jackal King.
Okay, so what do you think of this? Why do you play it? How does it work?
So, for the exact same reason I stated, the whole goal of the point is to get a starter and to get a monster in your extra monster zone.
Yeah.
So activating the Cerebus in your scale, you pop the Cerebus to search the Jackal, then you activate the Jackal, and that'll summon the Cerebus into your extra monster zone out of your extra deck. Then you set a card behind it, and then you can summon a Mekk-Knight.
Okay, I see where this is going.
And not all, so that's really good in there. And then also cards like these, they bait out your hand traps and like ogres and stuff. So they bait out Ash, they bait out Ogre. So you can start with this, and then they'll Ash your Cerebus, and then you can just normal summon Rabbit.
Nice.
Didn't that one game with Cerebus they got Ash and lose though?
No.
Oh, you win that one? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. So that's my newest tech in it. So hopefully this will turn out. I like it so far a lot.
Okay.
Especially since I'm playing 2 Jackal King. Primarily, I'm playing 2 just so that if I open one, the Cerebus isn't dead. But usually what ends up happening is you put the Mythical Beast down, then you summon a Mekk-Knight, and then you go into your Link 2.
Yeah.
If you end up with your other Jackal King, you can scale it on your next turn and then summon the Cerebus out, and that's a 2800 level 8
so
on
it just
the board.
gives you more monsters essentially.
Have you ever tribute summoned into a Jackal?
No. I've thought about it, but I don't play a whole lot of I can't spam spells very fast in this deck, so it's not that worth it.
Okay.
So yeah, but that's the entire monster lineup.
Okay, so that's the entire monster lineup. So the rest of it is spells and traps.
So the rest of it is spells and traps. So we're gonna start off again with some more spice.
Yeah.
I played 2 copies of Prohibition.
Okay.
So primarily, this just acts as a card in the spell and trap card zone so that I can set up columns.
Okay.
But opening this is actually really good because turn 1 you can just say, okay, stand by main, activate Prohibition, declare Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
Oh, and then you can just go off.
Yeah, and now no one can use Ash Blossom for as long as this is on the field.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it basically helps you survive hand
God,
traps.
you can clear Engage.
Yeah, that's what I did. When you know what your opponent is playing, you can, like if they're playing Skystrike, you can say activate, declare engage, and now they can't use engage.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, or if you're playing like Subterra, you just call Guru.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm not playing Called by the Grave, so this I was playing instead as my hand trap counter, just because you can counter like core pieces of decks instead. Yeah. So that's something I'm testing right now. We'll see how that turns out.
Definitely spicy, but it also makes sense.
Yeah. And then as another play starter, again, getting monsters in the extra monster zone.
It's important.
Play 3 copies of Instant Fusion.
Okay.
And we'll get into my
extra deck later.
We'll get into my extra deck later because there's some things that need to be discussed with that.
Okay.
So ultimately, between the Instant Fusion, the Rabbits, and the Cerebus. You have nine basics.
Starters.
You have 9 basic starters,
Yep.
and you do in a pinch. There are other cards you can play
Yeah.
for starters as well.
Okay.
All right. So moving on, just as a power card, play one Monster Born.
Of course.
I'd play Soul Charge if I could, but we can't.
But we can't.
Yeah. So now we're getting into the World Legacy cards that you need in order to play with Mekk-Knights.
Okay.
So, first off, best one there is
Yes, of
is World Legacy's Memory. It's an E-Tele for Mekk-Knights. So you summon any Mekk-Knight out of your deck in defense mode, and then it bounces to your hand at the end of the turn. So usually,
Purple?
yeah, you just activate it, summon purple, use purple, banish itself, search a Mekk-Knight, and then on your next turn the purple comes back.
Okay, that's yeah.
Yeah. What's awesome is you can set it if you don't need it on your first turn. You can set it on your opponent's turn.
Yep.
You can flip it to disrupt, or at their end phase, you just flip it, summon purple, banish purple, search it, and then you just draw and purple comes back.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Awesome card.
I heard you like +2.
It's only once per turn card, right?
Yes, you can only activate 1 per turn.
Okay.
So if you've got like extra Mekk-Knights or World Legacy cards in your hand and you have one, you can summon the Link 2, pitch a useless card, search the memory so you have 2, use 1, then set the other one.
For
Yeah, so basically out of that exchange, your first one summons a Nightfall, you banish it, get a Indigo or something, summon it, you set the other one. Then on your opponent's end phase, you flip it, summon another Nightfall, banish it. Okay. So on your next standby phase, 2 Nightfalls come back onto your board. Yeah, it's pretty good. And then lastly, for the World Legacy cards, we're playing, the reason why we're going first, we're playing the control cards.
Okay.
So we play 1 Key, 1 Whisper, and 2 Secret.
Okay, I hate this card. Yo, you know how much you use this card against me? I wanna.
It's so
oh my
good.
God.
Everyone hates that card.
It's
I hate this
so
card.
good. So each of these cards all do one thing on activation.
Yep.
Key lets you target a banished Mekk-Knight or World Legacy card and add it to your hand.
Yep.
Whisper lets you target any level 5 or higher monster on the board, and it gains 1,000 attack and defense until the end of turn. And this lets you target any level 5 or higher monster in your graveyard and special summon it.
Yep.
And then it becomes linked to it like Call of the Haunted.
Yep.
But all 3 of these have a similar continuous effect of while they're face up on the field, they will negate your opponent's trap, spell, and monster effects.
So trap, spell, monster.
And if they're activated in the same column as a Mekk-Knight. So
you can just lock your opponent out.
basically, if you have 5 Mekk-Knights on board and these 3 face up, your opponent actually can't do anything.
I hate
They
you.
can summon Colossus?
I guess, but I've got other cards for that too.
Yeah.
So, like the spice play is to, on your opponent's turn, flip this, summon Indigo from your graveyard on a monster activation. So say like your opponent summons Gazelle.
And then you can just Indigo move it to negate a second thing. Oh, I hate when you do that against me.
So for example with Salamander,
go.
your opponent summons Gazelle, they activate effect to dump, you flip the secret, target your Indigo, you summon it in the same zone, in the same column as Gazelle. Gazelle gets negated, then they link and make Balinks over here. They say Balinks search, and I say chain Indigo, move it here, and it negates the Balinks.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's why Indigo is important, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, these don't come into play nearly as often as these 2, but against like when Altergeist was a thing, this is a blowout. Against Sky Striker, this is a blowout.
Fuck that card.
Yeah, so that's the bread and butter of going first Mekk-Knights of these right here. And then lastly for traps, I can actually afford to play this in my deck. So instead of a typical Solemn Brigade, I play all 3 skill drain type continuous traps.
This is hand, graveyard, field?
Yes, so skill drain negates all monster effects on the field.
Yep.
They can still activate and pay cost, but the effects will get negated if they're on the field. Soul Drain prevents any monster effect from activating from the grave, and Mind Drain prevents any monster effect activating in the hand. So literally,
is this auto kill dangerous?
This auto kills, yes.
Nice.
Earlier today, I played against a Danger Thunder Dragon player. I didn't open super great. I just ended on like a Link 2 and maybe one more Mekk-Knight, but I had this, so I just set this, and they said, okay, draw for turn. I say, okay, draw phase, activate Mind Drain, and they're like, what is that? And I say, like, it's Soul Drain, but your hand, so you can't activate Dangers or Thunders or Hand Traps. So they just set they set a Jackalope.
Okay, so you would definitely say this is a more controlled deck, right?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
You're designed to. It's designed to go first and cause disruptions.
Okay.
Which is why I really like cards like these, because it's just like instead of setting up like cards that are like 1 or 2 negates, if you play your Mekk-Knights right, you can have infinite negates with these.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Would you play more Mind Drain? Is Mind Drain at 1?
Mind Drain is at 3, but I don't think I'd play more than 3. Or more than one. Sorry,
yeah.
I wouldn't play 3.
Okay.
And then lastly, just to round off, I play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Just because
The trap card.
it's a trap card, so A, it can't get called, and B, I can set it to set up zones to make Mekk-Knights.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's main deck in its entirety. So extra deck.
Yeah. Let's go into that.
Before you go, you want to mention that Spice deck you were playing?
Which one?
The Ground.
Oh, Ground Collapse? I mean, that's a pretty, like, I've seen people play that around. But yeah, Ground Collapse was another thing I was trying out, where it's another continuous spell, so it sets up your columns. But it also breaks your opponent's board as well, because you activate it and it shuts off 2 of your opponent's zones. So you can essentially force them to play in the zones you want them to play in. Yeah. And also, if you open 3 zones, you shut off their whole main monster zones and you win.
Wait, can you guys have 3 times?
Yeah, you can stack them.
You can stack them on zones that already exist too.
No, you can't. They have to be open. So
if you have 5 zones, you do target,
yes.
target, and then target the zone you already targeted.
No, you target 2, and then the last one on their field and 1 on yours.
Oh.
So you're playing with 4 zones, they're playing with 0.
Oh, that's dirty.
Damn.
Yeah, but I did take that out. I thought it was
Prohibition is just better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Extra, yeah. So we play 1 Link Kribo.
Okay.
Just sort of standard, gets rid of some other cards later on.
Okay.
And then Link Spider. This actually comes in when you open Mekk-Knight Avram.
Okay.
So you normal summon Avram, make Link Spider, set a card, summon a Mekk-Knight.
Okay.
So that's just another way you can start if you didn't open any of your 9 primary starters.
This is really well thought out.
Yeah, I've been playing this for a while.
For a long time.
Then I've just got the 2 best nightmares.
Yep.
So just basic spell and trap removal. Because the one thing about the Mekk-Knights is they can't touch your opponent's field zone. So if your opponent's field spell is being annoying, usually Phoenix is your out to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this isn't out to anything.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're pretty easy to make because you can just dump Mekk-Knights onto the board. Yeah. Then for the actual Mekk-Knights, we are playing 2 copies of Morningstar and 1 copy of Spectrum Supreme.
Okay.
This card is amazing,
Yep.
and it's the reason why you can play this deck pure.
Okay.
So, on summon, it lets you pitch a Mekk-Knight or a World Legacy card to search for any World Legacy card in your deck. So, like I said, it searches you all of your
traps.
it searches you all of your broken
Spells, traps,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Primarily, you're searching either secret or you're searching memory.
Yeah.
Just because these are the 2 best ones.
Yeah.
So it ultimately depends on what your hand looks like. If you can open with dumping this into the grave, more often than not you search secret.
Yep.
If not, then you search this, summon Nightfall, banish it, search this.
Yep.
And then you end with just these 2 on board.
Yep.
And this is another reason why Indigo is one of the best cards in this deck. Because this thing's field effect is, while it's face up on the field, if your opponent attacks would attack a Mekk-Knight in a different column than it's in. So say this unicorn's trying to attack this Morningstar to destroy it. Because it's in a different column,
Doesn't actually kill it.
yeah, my Mekk-Knight isn't destroyed and I don't take any battle damage from it.
yeah.
So literally nothing happens. So in order to kill the Mekk-Knights, you have to put them in the same column as
But if you do, you can Indigo move it.
Right. So they declare. So they summon this and then declare attack on the Morningstar. You can chain Indigo and move it down over here, and now now it can't be destroyed again.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's hilarious when you play against Cyber Dragon because you end with a board like this, and they go, "Oh, okay, special summon Cyber Dragon,"
you're like,
and
nope.
they're about to make Mega Fleet, and you say, "Okay, in response to summon effect," and then you move it out of the next monster zone, and now they can't.
Yeah, and then they're like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into the rest of the extra
Yeah.
deck.
The rest of the extra deck. So yeah, and then this thing just wins you games.
It's like a niche card. It's like you don't need it all the time, but
you don't need it all the time. I actually do make it quite a lot, just because you can make it that it can't be targeted or destroyed, and it can also tutor out more Mekk-Knights for you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and also you can get sneaky, just OT. You can just get sneaky kills with it because it can attack directly in some situations.
Of course.
All right, and then for consistency, I play one copy of Topologic Trisbana, just for back row, because you can special summon easily in this deck. And yeah. Then for the big guys, I play Borload and Ball Sword. Again,
Just go for kill, basically.
yeah, you can swarm pretty easily with this deck, so you can get them out real easy. Okay, now for some spicier stuff.
Okay.
So I play 3 level 8s at this point. I play Nightfall, I play Indigo, and I play Cerebus.
Okay.
So for that reason, I'm playing the Galaxy package. So I'm playing Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Dragon, and Cypher Blade Dragon.
Interesting. Okay.
So
I'm assuming you don't make it often, but when you do.
yeah, like it's if I need to out stuff.
Okay.
So Cypher Blade can take control of something, which I can take control of a Colossus and then link it away.
Doesn't it become the name?
It becomes Galaxy Eyes, but that only matters if it's an Xyz monster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can take someone's like Zombie Stein or like Beatrice or something. It'll become Galaxy Eyes, then you can stack full armor on top of it.
That's good.
Yeah. So full armor, you summon that just so that you can detach and pop a face-up card on the field. So that's another way I can out my opponent's field spells or floodgates or anything like that. And then Cypher Blade, you stack on top of that. That just pops any one card on the field. And if they ever try and out the Cypher Blade, it'll summon the Cypher Dragon out of the graveyard.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's just a solid all-around thing. Yeah. At one point, I was playing cherries, so you would just swap these out for cherries targets.
Yeah.
And then lastly are my instant fusion targets.
Yep.
So standard, you play 1,000 eyes, outs things, and then you basically this is actually another starter you can do just off instant fusion because you can
zone.
Yeah, because you can summon 1,000 eyes. Affect target, and then it becomes the equip spell in the same column, and then you summon a Mekk-Knight.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can make Link Rebo if you want, but more often than not, you're doing that. You're taking something, summoning a Mekk-Knight, and just sending this straight away for Morningstar.
Yep.
And then lastly, my last fusion target is El Shaddai Winda.
Okay, so is Winda just random, or are you just...
No, so if you open Avram and Instant Fusion, and say anything that you can discard to activate Morningstar, what you end up doing is you activate Instant Fusion, you summon your Winda, you normal summon your Avram, then for your one special summon in the turn, you send them away and you make the Morningstar. Then you pitch whatever you have in your hand to search something. So what you search is your trap.
Okay.
And you set that, do whatever else you can do in your hand and pass. Then on your opponent's draw or standby phase, you activate this, and you can actually summon Winda out the graveyard.
Does this call by the grave, or call by the hunted, anything?
It's not Mekk-Knight. It's any level 5 or higher monster. So you can actually summon Winda out the graveyard.
So now this Shiva becomes like a negate, or not a negate, but like
it's a floodgate. So now your opponent can only special summon once.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Damn.
So basically you just do that and hope they don't have banker tops.
Alright, damn. Well, yo, thank you for the deck profile. Yo, that was really in depth. So anyone who's watching this, you now know everything about Mekk-Knight. Literally Mekk-Knight King right here. Thank you for the profile. Again, I'm pretty sure you've said everything you want to say.
Pretty much.
But if you want to give any shout outs, go ahead.
Shout out to Tony because he always helps me test.
Boom.
And shout out to Untouchables, which is best locals that you can go to in Mississauga.
Jeez. Okay, big shout out. All right. Well, if you guys like the video,
I think it's also the only local now.
I mean, no.
The other local
yo, these guys, they go back and forth. You guys go back and forth so often. It's kind of funny. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. And with that, Spank signing out. Thank you. Bye.